I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about what happens if I break no contact. So, if you're going through a breakup situation or you were dating somebody and they're saying they're not interested anymore, it's really going to hit hard and it's really going to give you a lot of anxiety. And that anxiety is really going to make it difficult for you to leave that person alone. This is completely normal, okay? We as human beings are wired to stay close to our loved ones and the people that we care about. And so when somebody wants to take distance or end that connection, sever that connection, it makes us feel a lot of physical and emotional pain. So your instinct is trying to repair it. Your internal mechanisms are telling you repeatedly, reconnect or we're gonna die. Let's reconnect. We have to fix this. We can't lose them. And it's very painful to go through that experience. So, you hear a lot of videos about no contact in these kind of situations. Now, I know we get a lot of new people to the channel all the time, and we haven't put a video out like this in years. So I thought it would be good to talk about this again, because you're going to hear a lot of people with a lot of different opinions about no contact. Now, for us on the channel, we try and really help people use it in a healthy way to really help not only make you feel better, to grow in that time, to reflect, to process the challenges that come with it, and to act like an adult. And yes, when you go no contact, it does allow the other person to miss you, okay? And so we want to act like adults here, okay? We try and steer you guys in a direction that's going to put you in the best possible scenario to repair it like adults and not, use toxic or manipulative strategies that so often a lot of the other people tell you to do. So when you hear us say no contact, we're not telling you to ignore your ex if they reach out. We're not telling you to ignore them for a certain amount of days or time or anything like that. We're simply teaching you to respect their decision, which is to end the relationship and to move on with your life, which does allow them to face the consequences in a lot of different ways. Then, when they reach out to you, we're not telling you to ignore them. Now, there are situations where some of you do get breadcrumbed, but for the most part, I'm talking about where you and your ex haven't spoken in a while, usually several months, and they start to do things to get your attention. Sometimes they're very indirect with posting things on social media to try and spark you to get upset or trigger you. But a lot of times they'll do something a lot more subtle and indirect. And I call that the indirect direct approach, where they just message you something that's confusing, and that confusing thing keeps you guessing as to what they want. Do they want to repair this? What are they reaching out for? Are they missing me? Are they missing the connection? And so it's totally understandable why you would get confused about all these different things, because your emotions are through the roof, your anxiety is through the roof, and it's really hard to see things clearly when you're going through it. Even the smallest, minute things can really trigger us. I remember it happening to me years ago, where my ex had posted something on social media, and it really made me upset, and I thought it was about me, and honestly, looking back, it was something so ridiculously small and had nothing to do with me. but at the time you take things very personal. So it's tough to stay in no contact because you want to connect, you want to repair, you miss that person, you're afraid that they're going to forget about you. And a big part of that fear of forgetting or the believing that they're going to forget about you has to do with your attachment traumas. Things that happened to you in your childhood where your parents may have neglected you or abandoned you in certain ways. Now, I'm not trying to put blame on parents here. A lot of times they do the best that they can. It's not about that. It's about understanding the relationship between what happened when you were little and what's happening in your romantic relationships, because there is a strong correlation there. And this is why I'm always trying to educate you guys on stuff like this. So if you're new to the channel, you're going to hear me talking about things like attachment styles and trauma and mental health and all those things, because it's really that stuff that's going to help you understand dating and relationships and your love life. The old way of dating is going to be gone. People are getting more and more enlightened onto even just understanding attachment theory. When I launched my channel years ago, nobody was talking about attachment theory. Yes, there were a couple of really brilliant clinicians that were, but you certainly didn't hear any breakup coach talking about attachment theory or stuff like that. Not even dating coaches were talking about that stuff. This is the stuff that Margaret and I were talking about many, many years before we launched the channel, piecing all this stuff together, trying to understand it. Because when you really take a look at trauma, your relationship with your parents, how they may have met your needs or their beliefs about love and relationships and taking care of a child, it all comes out into our dynamic with our romantic partners. Now, it can be overwhelming at first, but when you start to really understand it, it's so enlightening. It feels freeing. It feels like you're breaking free of the matrix. It really does. You start to have all these aha moments. People that are doing the creative healing course and my workbooks, you should hear what they tell me every single day about how much they love it. You look at the comments, because the aha moments are relentless. You just constantly start to see things so clearly that you're just like, I can't even believe I used to be like that. In fact, many people will tell me that they would rather be this new version of themselves and not have their ex than go back to living that blind way where anxiety and all these unconscious things were controlling their life that they didn't even know about. So it's very enlightening. And so if you are new to the channel, don't worry. There's like over 1,500 videos, well over 1,500 videos that are going to help you slowly start to piece this stuff together. Now, I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent, but all of that is related to no contact. Everything that I've just said has to do with no contact and getting through no contact, because many of you are considering breaking no contact. Maybe even that's why you clicked on this video. And now you're like, what is he talking about? I get it. But it's when you have those aha moments that it becomes clear as to how to navigate this easier. And it becomes easier to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? I really like to give you the whys so you can see, oh, that's why he tells me to do that. So you're on the fence. You're thinking about reaching out to your ex all the time, and you don't know what to do, and you're thinking, I'm going to do it. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to break no contact. I haven't heard from them in months. They're probably forgetting about me. They're not forgetting about you, okay? Yes, there are very few people out there that really don't bond and attach to other people, but for the most part, most people are going to think about you, miss you, be reminded of you, and wonder how you are, and think about what your life, and even stalk you in certain ways. So you don't have to worry about somebody not thinking about you and missing you while you're in no contact, if that's what you're afraid of. But reaching out, I know you're like, get to the point, Craig. I get it. But again, I'm trying to really help you understand this stuff. If you break no contact, there are a lot of different factors that come into play, right? You have to think about certain things like, how long ago was the breakup? okay? If you've been in no contact for quote unquote no contact for 3 weeks, that's not really no contact, and it's not giving them enough time to really miss you. Now, some exes will reach out in that amount of time, but most will not. Most need more time than that. How many times have you already broken no contact? Think about it. How did that work for you? How many times have you reached out to your ex as of this moment after the breakup, and how did that work? Probably not so good. Probably why you're watching the video. So if you're reaching out to your ex and they didn't respond well, why would you do it again? That's your anxiety lying to you. Do the creative healing course and the workbooks. That will really help you understand this stuff. Why did they end the relationship? If you were making somebody feel smothered and trapped and then you reach out to them again, you're just making it worse. Okay? So you have to think about all these things. And of course, you have to think about how you reach out to your ex. Okay? There are different ways people go about it. Some people are more indirect. Some people say, I miss you. Some people send them flowers. Some people go to their jobs. Or, all of those things are going to have a big impact. Now, I'm not telling you to do any of those things. I want to make that clear. Okay? If you really are thinking about breaking no contact, I highly advise you to do a coaching with myself or Victoria so we can tell you whether or not we think it would help in your situation, because I don't want to see anybody make it worse. I know what it's like to want just one more chance with that person, where you just want so badly one more opportunity to turn things around. And that's why I get upset at a lot of the bad advice out there, because I'm never going to tell you to do something I wouldn't do in your situation, because I know how important that is. I know that feeling. It's the most important feeling in the world, and you just would give anything for that other opportunity. For me, I felt like I had a giant gaping hole in my chest. That's what it felt like for me. I don't know if a lot of people get that, but because I had childhood trauma with, numerous divorces with my parents, and I had a lot of separation anxiety going away to my dad's house and stuff like that, my body responds to that anxiety probably more severely than a lot of you guys. So my stomach starts gurgling. You've heard me talk about getting diarrhea, night sweats, cold sweats. My body just really struggles with it, because I understand now early childhood stuff. Had things been better in my childhood, I wouldn't be going through those same traumas again. So when you reach out to your ex, you have to understand, if you break no contact, you are hurting their grieving process. Your ex has to grieve the breakup. They have to think about what it's like to actually lose you. When you're reaching out, every time you reach out, it makes them feel like you're still there. It doesn't feel like they're dealing with a consequence or a loss. So by reaching out, you're interrupting that process and them getting to a place where they would have to decide if they are willing to risk losing you further or reaching out. So I do not recommend reaching out for that reason. Now, you're also taking away this fear that they have of losing you. Think about your fear of losing them. Is it not consuming you? Is it not consuming you every single day since the day of the breakup? I know it did for me, and I know when I talk to people every day, they tell me the same thing. So chances are that fear of losing them is really terrifying you. Hopefully motivating you as well, but it's terrifying. Now, don't you want them to feel that, right? Don't you want them to see what it's like to experience losing you? They only feel that if you leave them alone. Any kind of reaching out that you do tells them on some level you're still interested. Guess what happens? Guess where that fear goes? Bye-bye. So don't do it. I don't recommend you do it. Okay, now, if you break no contact, there is the possibility that your ex is going to be interested. I can't say that it won't happen or it couldn't happen. It certainly does happen from time to time. However, I can tell you that if that is the case, they were probably getting close to reaching out to you anyway. But if you allow them to reach out, it allows them to show you how interested they are. Because you want to know how interested they are. You know how interested you are, but you want to know how interested they are. So when you break no contact, it doesn't allow you to see how interested they are. So it's difficult, more difficult to gauge their interest if you reach out. Think about that. I mean, you keep reaching out and now you don't know how they feel about you and you're making it easier for them. But if you don't and you allow them to reach out to you, now you can see, hey, they want to talk to me. Hey, they're ready to communicate. They're reaching out. They're trying to connect with me. Now, another thing you want to consider is what's going on for them right now. Let's just say that they are dating somebody new and they're excited about it. They're still in that early honeymoon phase. Things are great and wonderful. And this person looks amazing and so perfect. And here you are with all your flaws that they've seen for so many years, right? You're just showing them that you are a safety net, that they can go off, do whatever they want with whoever they want, and they don't have to fear losing you. Is that what you want to happen? Probably not. I don't want that to happen for you. We want them to feel that loss. And yes, they can feel it if they are dating somebody new. Yes, they are more excited about that situation, but most of those rebound relationships fall apart. And guess what happens when they do? They usually reach out to you. This is why you want to stay in no contact and working on yourself, because you want to blow them away with the changes that you've made, especially if you're looking back at the relationship and thinking, oh, I didn't do this right. I could have done that better. I wish I had done that better. And you're looking at yourself thinking, I could have been a much better partner. And if I had been, maybe they wouldn't have left. Now, of course, that's not true for everybody. Some of you were great partners, but many people do need to consider that. So, another thing to consider is that if you break no contact, it tells them that you need them. Okay? You risk looking eager, available, that they can treat you poorly or neglect you or walk away, and you're still going to be there. That's not a message that you want to show someone. It's not a message of strength. The other thing that happens is all this time that you've been in no contact, every day that you've been in it, and they're thinking about you, looking at your social media, maybe even checking out your friends and family's pages to see where you're at and what you're doing, guess what? That curiosity goes away. Why would they need to be curious about someone that keeps reaching out to them, right? Even if they don't have much of a conversation with you when they reach out, or even if they ignore you, it still tells them, they still want to be with me. So they don't have to be curious because they've got the answer. You've given them the answer. You're putting them in a position of power, okay? And so you want it to be on them to make that connection with you so you have more of an equal ground to turn things around. Because it might make it easier for them to take you for granted if you're reaching out to somebody who's left you and abandoned you. It shows them you're going to chase them, right? They have more value than you do. They can leave you, leave the relationship, and you're going to try and still repair it, right? So, and I'm primarily speaking about if they ended the relationship, of course, right? So, you're going to decrease your value in their eyes if you keep reaching out to them. Please stay in no contact and focus on the personal growth. Now, if you were dating an avoidant, it's going to make things even worse, okay? Because avoidants often shut down, and that intrusion makes them kind of like freeze in a way. Like they don't want to reach out and connect because they're so overwhelmed by the situation. So attachment styles has a big part in breakups and no contact and relationships. And you can check out my Understanding Attachment Styles playlist and my Be a Master in Relationship playlist. Those really help you understand what's going on with people in these kind of situations. The other thing that can happen if you reach out and break no contact is you could really make them angry and upset. This happens a lot, especially if they have told you no several times or cut contact with you several times and, basically told you they don't want to keep contacting you. Now you're bordering on harassment. You might actually be harassing. And it's going to make them less likely to reach out to you in the future, because if you can't accept no, and then they come back and they're like, maybe, well, you're not going to accept the maybe. You're not going to accept taking it slow. And so they're not going to feel comfortable with doing that. Now, obviously, if you've already done this and you can't change it, but what you can change is healing these issues. So when they do come back, you're a lot more naturally likely to act in a confident way. You definitely want to be able to take no for an answer, because if you don't and you're harassing someone, they're probably going to get the police involved or the court system, and you really don't want to go that route, because it's really going to be hard to turn things around when it gets to that point. Okay, now, if you're focusing on reaching out and breaking no contact, you're also really not focusing on yourself. If you think about it, you're focusing on what you're going to do, how you're going to repair it, how you're going to say things. You start to imagine all these fantasy scenarios of how you think it's going to go. And by the way, it very, very rarely goes the way you're imagining it. Trust me, I've been doing this for a long time. And you may even think, well, if I just reach out one more time, if I just do it once more, and that'll be it, it's going to soothe your anxiety. It's not. Okay? I've talked to many people who have had that same thought and belief over the years. If I just do it once more, that's an I'm going to no contact right then. You reach out, it doesn't go well, and then guess what? Your anxiety doesn't feel any better. In fact, now it feels worse, because you knew you shouldn't have reached out and you did it anyway. So don't do it, because if they don't respond, you're probably going to obsess even more and make it even worse. And you'll feel even more hopeless. Please just remember that if you break no contact, you are putting yourself in a place to be more vulnerable. Okay? It's letting your guard down by letting somebody know that you're still interested even after they've ended the relationship. You're chasing them. It looks weak. It turns them off. It hurts attraction. There are so many reasons to stay in no contact, and just allow them to reach out when they are ready. Okay? And I know so many of you guys want to talk about this every day. And the demand for my time is very high. And I love talking to you guys and help changing your lives and getting you through this, because I know what it's like to go through it. And obviously Margaret did too, because she helped me through mine, and even Coach Victoria. I mean, I knew Coach Victoria for many, many years before we launched the channel. And so her and I have talked about breakups for many, many years before she came on board too. So we understand what you're going through, and we know how scary it is, and we know how hopeless it can feel, but feelings do change. Feelings change like the clouds that move across the sky. They really do. But it takes time for that to happen. And trying to force it isn't going to work that way. So give them the space, allow them to come back to you when they're ready, focus on the personal growth, check out my creative healing course and my workbooks. They will truly change your life. There is so much amazing content in there that will help you focus on the right things, especially when you feel like you're cracking. You feel like you're reaching out? No, sit down and do the workbooks, okay? If you're doing the course, you can do an art therapy activity or watch a cartoon or the audio affirmations. We have 10 different audio affirmations to help calm you down. We have creative visualizations. We have all kinds of stuff in there. Assignments, homework assignments. You can focus on something like that instead of reaching out, instead of looking to see, oh, have they signed on to Facebook for the 900th time today? Or WhatsApp or whatever it is. You know you're doing it. I know I did it too. And that's why I'm trying to give you something positive to focus on instead. So There's obviously more that I could talk about, but this has covered a lot. And hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can get my creative healing course or my workbooks only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.